Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you are listening to the Meditations and More podcast here on the littleshaman.com, brought to you by shamanspiritcenter.com, ilivedwithamonster.com, and littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. Today, I wanted to talk to you about something that occurs in every relationship or situation that involves any type of narcissist, and that is that narcissists want you to choose sides. Narcissistic personalities view the world very rigidly in very simple, often extreme black and white binary terms. There are winners and losers. There are controllers and those who are controlled, masters and slaves, angels and demons, good and bad. There is no in between, there is no gray area at all, and the existence of one automatically creates the other. If someone is a winner, the other is automatically the loser. If someone is good, the other is automatically bad, and vice versa. Through these basic and essentially automatic binaries, pathologically narcissistic personalities can understand the world and their own role or place in it. With no real or stable identity to speak of, the majority of narcissists must define themselves through comparisons to others. This is what narcissistic supply does, for example, and it is the purpose of the reflections from others that you always hear talked about on this channel, for example, in the episode entitled Stop Trying to Be the Good Guy with Narcissists. The biggest problem that this creates in dealing with other people is that these binaries are automatic and most of them are pretty extreme. Someone who is bad is all bad. They would do anything, say anything, hurt anyone. No limits, no rules, no morals, no ethics. This is why you get these absurd accusations wherein the narcissist believes that someone who would so callously and cruelly correct their pronunciation of a word would try to kill them. In their mind, all of these things are equal because bad is bad is bad is bad. If you would do one thing, you would do anything. You would do everything. This is, of course, ridiculous and completely untrue, but understanding how this works can help us make sense out of a lot of the puzzling behavior that we see from these personalities. Trying to convince a narcissist that this is ridiculous is a waste of time. This is how they see it, and it's not going to change, but at least we can know that and use the knowledge to address our own stress, pressure, and confusion when dealing with these personalities. These personalities are in a different reality than everybody else is, and the sooner people can understand the literal truth of that, the better off they'll be. Since narcissists see things in such rigid binary terms, they want you and everyone else to choose sides. They need you to do that. Not just in times of conflict, even though really, when is it not a time of conflict with this type of person, but all the time. And the side they want you and everybody else to choose is theirs, no matter what. If they're wrong, it doesn't matter. If they're mistaken, doesn't matter. If it's stupid and pointless, it doesn't matter. The loyalty test is never ending, and you will fail if you don't pick them each and every single time, including against yourself. You see, you don't have a side against narcissists. Not really. No one does. You are expected to be on their side against the entire world and against reality and against every single thing, including you. It includes your own family. It includes your own friends. It includes your own children. It includes your own self, period. If you don't do that, you're a bad person and you're an enemy. And because they're so extreme, you are these things forever now. You can never be trusted again. Not that you ever really were anyway. This gives narcissists a tangible grievance against you. It gives them a justification for their pathological inability to trust anyone. See, I didn't believe you and I was right. You're a bad person. It gives them a place to put their incessant need to punish and take revenge against other people for their own pain, anger, feelings of powerlessness. They have been wronged and they want blood for that. The word target is often used in this community, and generally it's used to mean someone that has been targeted for supply, for example, the way that a person will be targeted by a con man. That's not incorrect, but we could also argue that it is actually more literal too. The people around narcissists are targets of their anger and their need to punish other people. These personalities often have extreme amounts of anger, spite, vindictiveness, rage, and much more that they are dealing with all the time. They need a place to put that. They need a target to dump these things on, to put it bluntly. The people around them fulfill this need. They serve as targets of rage, punishment, blame, hatred, persecution, and whatever other negative experiences the narcissist needs to offload or to engage in to feel better. Anyone not being blamed or accused, if there is anyone not being blamed or accused, is expected to choose the narcissist's side in this equation, no matter what. This is how people end up being singled out as scapegoats in family and social systems that include narcissists. Narcissists are fixated on power and control because they are so fragile and so emotionally immature that they don't feel they have any. Like small children, their locus of control is external, which means that they believe that everything that happens to them is controlled by forces outside of themselves, for example, such as other people. If they can control those things, they feel that they can, by extension, control what happens in their own lives. If you control the things that are controlling you, then you control yourself and your own destiny. Remember, too, their perception is split into rigid binaries. If there's not a target to push down, have they really been elevated? They can only experience and define themselves through comparison against other people. If they are not exerting power and control over other people, they have no way to tell if they actually have any power and control or not. And as we just discussed, power and control is extremely important to narcissists. You could say that to lose it is life-threatening to them, and it would not really be an exaggeration. Setting up situations such as where people are scapegoated, punished, smeared, and bullied not only puts narcissists in what they believe is a power position, it helps them to keep that power position by somehow recruiting other people to take their side against somebody else. He who has all the marbles wins. Some of these recruited people are narcissistic themselves, and they enjoy punishing and bullying others because it makes them feel powerful. Some of these people are true believers. They believe the narcissist's statements of blame and victimization, so they think the person being punished or scapegoated is a legitimate bad guy. Some people believe or have been told that loyalty requires them to support and agree with somebody no matter what, so they do that even though they might be uncomfortable with what's going on. Some people go along with it because they're just glad it's not them who's being singled out. They are afraid of the narcissist and or afraid of being singled out and ostracized themselves, so they go along to stay on the narcissist's perceived good side, even though they might have genuine issues with the narcissist's behavior or the situation, and even though the narcissist has no good side in this context. Everyone is a potential enemy, and anyone who doesn't believe that is making an enormous error in judgment. Most of them do find that out eventually, by the way. Eventually, narcissists turn on just about everybody. It is in many ways the prototypical bully power dynamic. There are people who are not actively participating, but they're also not helping. They're not standing up against what's going on. We see this in families and also in the workplace. These folks often claim that they are minding their own business or that they don't want to get involved, as if this is somehow the right or even the respectful thing to do, like, hey, I'm minding my own business. But the reality is that people being mistreated in front of you is your business. If someone engages in abuse in front of others, those others are involved if they're adults. They can choose not to act, and that's their choice for whatever their reasons are, but they are involved. Narcissistic personalities know that this is how many people feel, and they count on the fact that people are not going to want to get involved. The sad part is that many times they're right, and they can get away with some very nasty things because of that. Nobody wants to get involved. Nobody wants to rock the boat. Nobody wants to be the one to say anything. This is really sad, and unfortunately we hear it all the time. If you do not always pick the narcissist, if you do not always take their side, then you will be seen as an enemy, an opponent. This tends to never be forgiven and never be forgotten. It may not be acted on right then, but it will be remembered. Pathologically narcissistic personalities are not really able to process traumatic or upsetting things, and as stupid and silly as this might sound, this type of thing is deeply traumatic for narcissists. It really is. It is seen as a terrible betrayal, incredibly wounding, incredibly, unbelievably hurtful. It doesn't matter what it's about, or if it's big or small or petty, or if they're wrong. If you cared about them at all, if you were loyal, if they mattered in any way, you would always and forever be on their side no matter what. The fact that you think they could be wrong or somehow not the obvious choice for any reason means you hate them, that you think they are worthless garbage. This is absurd and unreasonable, but it doesn't matter. Reality and facts, or evidence and proof, or morals and ethics, none of these things matter when dealing with narcissists. They just really don't. And it is enormously frustrating for people who are trying to speak facts to insanity in these situations. The reality is that even trying to do this is a gigantic waste of time. If you have not accepted this yet, work on internalizing it, because it's the truth. No matter how well you present things, no matter how common sense and obvious the things that you're saying are, no matter how much evidence and proof you have, it just doesn't matter. This person cannot hear you, they cannot understand you, and they don't care anyway. You should have done what they wanted. Because you didn't, you are the bad guy. There's no gray area, no nuance, no mitigating circumstances, no excuses accepted. You should have done what they wanted, period. The idea that eventually narcissists will be forced to acknowledge reality is incorrect. It is not going to happen. Their entire personality structure functions in such a way as to prevent that from happening. Their entire perception is built on denial and reinterpretation of reality into something that fits with the version of things that this extremely fragile person can tolerate. The pathologically narcissistic personality cannot cope with reality. That's it. Reality is an aggression to narcissists, which means that asserting reality is an act of aggression against them. You not taking their side is a direct attack against the fragile fiction they live in, where they are always right, always the best, always the most important, always the whatever, and they hate anyone who attacks that false reality. Again, reality, actuality is an aggression to narcissists. This is in any situation or for any reason, no matter how small or inconsequential. They are that fragile. They cannot tolerate any injection of reality into their fantasy in any way, and they view that as a deliberate act of aggression against them, an attack. If you don't like a show that they like on TV, you're saying that they like trash shows and therefore they are trash. It's that ridiculous. If you can remember that and internalize it, then you can understand the dynamics of dealing with these personalities, which makes navigating interactions with them not easier. Nothing makes interacting with narcissists easier, but it makes it less confusing, and perhaps more importantly, it helps us not to take ownership or responsibility for the way that this person is behaving or the things that they're saying, because it doesn't have anything to do with you at all. It helps us not take these things personally, because we now understand that this is a legitimately delusional person who is having a completely different experience than the one that you are having. And their reactions to that experience are not a reflection of you or reality in any way. To reiterate that, this person is having a completely different experience than the one that you are having. And their reaction to that is not a reflection of anything except that. You're not going to be able to understand their behavior because of this, and that's okay, because understanding this is all you really need to do. The rest really just does not matter. If you are engaging in voluntary interactions with a narcissistic personality, understanding this can help you see that there really just is no point in interacting with them at all. There's no point. If you're required to interact with a narcissist for some reason, understanding this may be the only thing that will allow you to survive with your sanity still intact. I hope that clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. I take appointments online, over the phone, via text, via messenger, via email, and through Skype and Zoom for clients worldwide. So if you're interested in speaking with me one-on-one, you can visit littleshaman.org to do that. I have several books in publication, so if you are interested in picking up any or all of those, you can visit littleshaman.org to do that, or you can find them on Amazon.com. If you are interested in telling your story in the new series, I Lived with a Monster, Real Stories of Living with Narcissists and Psychopaths, you can visit ilivedyouwamonster.com to do that. I teach workshops, seminars, and clinics, so if you are interested in seeing what we are running this month, you can visit littleshaman.org to do that. And if you are interested in joining our support group with weekly support meetings, access to exclusive content, and more, you can visit littleshaman.org to do that as well. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast here on the littleshaman.com, brought to you by shamanspiritcenter.com, ilivedwithamonster.com, and littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you. Have a beautiful day.
If you've been struggling through dealing with or recovering from an unhealthy relationship with a narcissist or other toxic personality, the Little Shaman has a catalog of over 500 YouTube videos designed to support your journey from discovery to recovery. You can also find additional resources on the Little Shaman website, including tools, courses, workshops, a support group with weekly meetings, and one-on-one appointments with the Little Shaman that are open to clients worldwide. There's even an AI chatbot built and trained exclusively by the Little Shaman using her work that can answer questions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For more information, visit littleshaman.org. You can listen to The Little Shaman wherever you find your favorite podcasts.